everybody. It's Vaughn from the Kingdom Safety Response Unit. It's been a little while since we came to you, since I've hit you with something. I haven't hit you guys with anything since the new year, really, right? That's kind of crazy, and I gotta apologize for that before I start. That's on me. Basically, I kind of got, I'm gonna just say I got big-headed because I was using the DSLR cameras for the past 2 videos, and I wanted to keep on being able to use that, and I allowed not having access to that to hinder me from continuing to create the videos. And I started, I guess you can say I started thinking that it was about the wrapping or the package or the envelope, and instead of remembering that it was about the message that it contained. So I apologize for that, my bad. But Kingdom Safety Response Unit, we getting things started once again. You're gonna see some new faces really soon. I'm gonna introduce you guys to them later on if not the next video, then one of the next ones. I might be doing like 3 videos tonight, so bear with me. Good to see you guys again, or I hope that it's good to see me again. I can't really see y'all, but it's all good. Let's get right into what we're doing. I'm going to talk to you guys about a text today. I'm gonna relate what we're talking about to this text. And if you have a Bible at your crib, if you got a Bible at your crib, go to Luke chapter 5 and verse. Really, we're going to go to Luke chapter 5 and verse 37. But really, we're going to be concentrating on we're going to go back and forth from verse 37 and 33. Our main focus is going to be 37, but I just want to, 33 is going to come into play. All right. So 37 says, "And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish." All right. So that's what verse 37 says. Now that's Jesus talking in that verse. And what's important to understand about that is it's Jesus talking. So why is he saying that though? He's saying something, but there has to be a deeper context as to why he's saying that. So I'm gonna read it again. "And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish." Okay, so now that we got that, now that you've seen that, let's backtrack a little bit so that we can kind of put what he's saying into context. All right, as a matter of fact, we're going to go a little bit before verse 33. I want to go, let's go to verse 27. Go to verse 27. And verse 27 says, "And after these things he went forth and saw a publican named Levi sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, Follow me. And he left all, rose up, and followed him." Right? This is Jesus that's telling Levi to follow me. "And Levi made him a great feast in his own house, and there was a great company of publicans and of others that sat down with them. But their scribes and Pharisees murmured against his disciples, saying, Why do ye eat and drink with publicans and sinners?" Okay, that's a whole other video that we could get into. "And Jesus answering said unto them, They that are whole need not a physician, but they that are sick. And I came not to call righteous, but sinners to repentance." Now we are at verse 33. "And they said unto him, Why do the disciples of John fast often, and make prayers, and likewise the disciples of the Pharisees, but thine eat and drink?" And going on, it says, verse 34, "And he said unto them, Can ye make the children of the bride chamber fast, while the bridegroom is with them? But the days will come when the bridegroom shall be taken away from them, and then shall they fast in those days. And he spake also a parable unto them, No man putteth a piece of a new garment upon an old, if otherwise then both the new maketh a rent, or a tear. And the piece that was taken out of the new agreeth not with the old. And then we get to our verse that we're going to focus on. And no man putteth new wine into old bottles, else the new wine will burst the bottles and be spilled, and the bottles shall perish. All right. So, what does that mean? What is he saying when he says, if you put new wine into old bottles, that those bottles will burst and that the bottles shall perish? But if you put new wine into new bottles, that both the bottle and the wine shall be spared or shall be saved. And we can kind of get our context from the mindset of the Pharisees that it said were the ones that was asking these questions. And if you know anything about the scribes and the Pharisees, a big problem that the scribes and the Pharisees had in the Bible was that they were very, very concerned with outward signs, that with people performing outward signs to show that they were holy. And so what they do is they pose a question. Matter of fact, if you peep, they tried to actually kind of trick Jesus or trip Jesus up in a bit, because not only did they say that in verse 33, they said the disciples of the Pharisees fast often and make prayers, right? But what they tried to do is, if you look right before that, they spoke about John the Baptist. They brought him into it because they knew that he was considered a righteous or a holy man. And they said, oh, well, John the Baptist's boys, they fast often and they make prayers often also. So if they do that, and if the disciples of the Pharisees do that, then how come your disciples don't do that? And when we get down to verse 37, Jesus is like, Jesus is trying to help them understand, you guys are so focused on the outward, and he's like, I'm not focused on the outward. What I'm focused on, he's saying it makes no sense for you to behave like you're the right person, but yet you're not the right person. And what do I mean like that? Jesus was saying, I'm not trying to put too much on their plate as yet, because they're gonna just be a bunch of broken men, or they're still gonna have the same mindset, but they're just going to be doing different actions. But their mindset, who they really are, is going to be the same. And Jesus is saying, it makes no sense for me to change your behavior before changing who you really are. Because if I change who you really are, if I change your mindset, if I change the way you think, right? If I can help you understand things differently, then I won't have to teach you so much about behaviors. Naturally, when you teach a man, or if you teach a girl or anybody, if you teach them how to become the right person, if you teach them how to think the right way, if that becomes a part of them, and if they take on that aspect, naturally certain behaviors start to flow, because they understand. Or a basketball player does not just go out there to play basketball. Most basketball players, if they've made it to a professional level, is because they live and breathe the thing. This is something that's really a part of them. This is something that they think about all the time. They want to be a basketball player, and so their actions start to line up with playing basketball. Okay? So what Jesus is saying is, I'm not trying to just have a whole bunch of guys on my team who want to look like they play basketball, but at heart they're not really basketball players. You know, they just get on the court and just shoot around, or they get on the court and practice layups, but at heart they're not basketball players, right? Nobody wants a soldier on their team or a soldier in their army who isn't really trying to be a soldier at heart. Like, if that soldier, well, matter of fact, let's take a police officer. Let's take a certain police officer. Let's take police officers. If a police officer doesn't really want to be a police officer at heart, then how can the rest of his guys truly trust him if something happens in the streets and that police officer needs backup, and another police officer needs backup, and let's say if I'm a police officer and I'm waiting for backup, and the next person over there, I know that really at heart he's kind of scared, because he didn't really get in the game. He didn't really get in the police game because he wanted to be a police officer. He really just got in there because maybe he gets a good pension, or maybe he gets good pay, right? But at heart, he's not a real, true police officer. Then you can act all you want like a police officer, but it's not going to be effective. And so that's basically what Jesus was saying in that passage. I'm not so concerned about. I'm not concerned about them just coming, or I'm not concerned about you just coming to church and doing prayers and fasting. And so it looks like to everybody that, oh, you're this good person, you're this good Christian. Now, what I'm really concerned with is changing the way your heart is. I'm trying to change your mind. I'm trying to change your heart, so that out of these things, even though you may not even look the part, but because those things are beginning to change, slowly but surely, you will begin to look the part and behave the part and truly have the real part down in your heart and in your mind. So that's it. That's my message for today. Real simple message. Is that message, just to make it applicable to us today, is don't just do outward signs, or don't just do things for an outward show. All right? Don't just do things for an outward show, because it makes no sense. You're not fooling anybody but yourself. And you might even fool some of us. You might fool me. You might fool somebody else. But what I'm saying is, really focus on your heart. Really focus on your mindset. Anything that you're looking to accomplish, in your relationships with one another, in your relationship with God, with your family members, with your friends, even with your enemies. Don't just do things. Don't just relate to people because you want to seem a certain way to others, right? But relate to them. Really check yourself and see, yo, really in my heart, can I say I truthfully feel a certain way? Really in my heart, can I really say that I really care for this person? Really in my heart, can I really say that I want to do good for this person? And as you start checking your heart, and as you start examining yourself, man, I guarantee you that you'll start seeing the change that you really want to see. So this video was a bit longer than I wanted it to be, but I hope that it was clear. Any questions, hit me up and I'll answer it to the best of my ability in another video coming up. All right, peace out. Vaughn from the Kingdom Safety Response Unit, or the rest of the Kingdom Safety Response Unit. Can't wait for y'all to meet them. Peace.